Hello everybody. Now in this video we will be learning about TF-IDF in this series. So all the topics which we learn under NLP in this series, considering those, let's try to classify some resumes, right? So let's say you are building a model to do the screening of resumes which are received by HR in your company. So let's take this for example. Let's say this is this snippet taken from 4 different resumes. Now after receiving this, you will fetch this information because this will be PDF or maybe any document file, right? So you will fetch this informations in Python, and then after fetching that you will do some processing which may include tokenization, lemmatization, stop words removal, and then you will do the vectorization. After that, what you get is this kind of grid you might get. So what you see over here is all the features which has been extracted so far from the document. Now the next thing which we would require to do is map these features against each of these resumes. Means the count of each of these words in each of these resumes. So you may get something like this. Now basis on this, you require to classify which resume is for data scientist and which one is for data modeler, right? So let's have a look. In the first resume, if you see, classification word comes 7 times, build comes 3 times, XGBoost comes three times. So apparently if you see, XGBoost has to do something with data science, classification has to do something with data science, OLAP is something related to data modeling, RDBMS is again the same part, right? So we have 0 count for OLAP and RDBMS, but for these two we have the count. So apparently we can classify it as data scientist. Let's have a look on this. So over here, if you see, RDBMS is 5, OLAP is 3, experienced is 7. So basis on these two, because this is not an skill, right? This is not an skill, rather it could be maybe you can say adjective. Okay, so this is not an skill. So basis on these two, we can classify it as data modeler. So looking in this direction, we classify these profiles into this way. But now if you observe in this profile in resume 2, what you see is experienced is repeated 10 times in this particular document. And if this data is applied to computer, it what it finds is, right, it is very similar to resume 3 and resume 4, because in resume 3 and resume 4 also it is very close to them. So the computer might end up classifying this profile also as data modeler. So what is the solution to figure out what is the solution which we can figure out? So that's where TF-IDF comes into the picture, which is nothing but term frequency and inverse document frequency. Don't worry, we will understand them in detail. So let's first understand what document frequency is. So document frequency simply means it simply means the document frequency for each word, all right, which means each of the word has been repeated in how many documents, number of document the word appears in, right? Document frequency is very simple. For example, if I take the word build, so in how many documents it has been repeated? So it has been repeated in 2 documents, right? So number of documents the word appears in, so it is simple 2. It won't be 7. We are not asking how many times it is repeated in each of the document, rather we are saying in how many documents this word comes in, right? So it comes in 2 documents. So what is inverse document frequency? So inverse document frequency is nothing but total number of documents, which we have 4, divided by number of documents the word appears in. So let's see over here, for example, let's take example for this word experience, right? So for this, the total number of documents are In the total number of documents which we are considering for processing is 4, and in how many word in how many document it appears is 3, so 4 by 3. Now when you solve this, what you get is 1.33. so by default, if you see, its impression is reduced, right? Its effect is reduced, which is less than this, right? So now we won't have problem classifying this as data scientist. There is one more thing which we do. We find the log of this. So if you find the log of this, then the new value which you will get is 0.12, which is further lower, down. So this is inverse document frequency. I hope this is clear to you. Moving forward, next thing which comes into the picture is term frequency. What is term frequency? So it is simply count of the word in the count of the word W in the document D. Okay. So divided by total number of words in the document. Okay. So for example, let's take an example of experienced. Okay. So count of the word W. So here W is nothing but the word experienced. So what is the count of this? 10 in the document D, which means resume 2. So in resume 2, the word experienced comes 10 times. Then comes total number of words in the document. So for example, let's consider that these are the only words which we have in our document 2. So how many words are available? 6, 4, 10, 10, 20, and this 2, 22, right? So out of 10, the word experienced gets repeated 10 times, and the total number of words which we have in this document is 22. So this is what we get. Let's say if we have to find term frequency for the word experienced in resume 2, rather here it should have to be 2, please ignore. Now then this is the fraction which you will get, 10 by 22, which I just explained. When you solve this, you get 0.45. Moving forward, now we understood inverse document frequency, we understood term frequency. What is TF-IDF? Why do we call it together? So this is nothing but the product of TF and IDF. So TF into IDF is TF-IDFs. So this is what we find. How do we calculate it? It is nothing but the product of the value which you found in TF and the value which you found in IDF. Okay, so 0.45 is something which you found in TF, and 0.12 is something which you found in IDF. When you solve this, you get 0.06. So this is how you can solve a problem using TF-IDF. Right, this is nothing but just another way of representation. So let's have a look at the real example. Not real, the actual example which we had this actual value. So when you find IDF, right, inverse document frequency, this is the value which you will get. Remember, this IDF will not be calculated for each of the document, rather it will be calculated for each of the features on overall level because of the formula you see, right? Then when we calculate TF, this is what we get, and then further we need to find TF into IDF. So this is what you get. Now if you observe over here, the experienced word is its effect is lowered down, right, compared to classification right? So apparently it will go into the data science, right? The maximum effect which has is classification, 0.08. So we can put it in data science, right? So hope this was clear. Now in the next part, we will see how we can solve this in Python using sklearn library. See you in the next one.